So I'm at the point now where I'm going to just final sand and flush and make sure everything's right before I tape stuff off and get ready to tint the back of the neck. Towards the beginning of the video I was talking about ambrosia maple, how the grain might disappear or more grain might show up. I actually got really lucky, and while it showed a little bit on top, I uncovered a real nice streak going all the way down until the heel, and a few other little places came up. So I'm pretty happy about that. Got lucky. Got a couple of little bore hose. But other than that, kind of happy about that. So I'm just going to finish flush sanding and get ready to tint. Oh yeah, I've got to clean this shop up tomorrow. I am finished with the flush sanding and got everything really nice and smooth. And I'm going to wipe it down and clean this off. Get some of that dust out of the pores. Naphtha. Some of the best stuff you can have in your shop right here. There's no doubt. I use a lot of it. Oh, it looks good. Wipe some naphtha on there. Kind of give you an idea of what it'll look like with some lacquer on it. It also cleans everything real good, and it's always a good idea to clean things off before you glue things together. Right. Alright, this neck is now ready to tint. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put a nice amber. I've got a real special tint that I've made up for years now, and I just keep adding back to it to give it a real nice golden amber sheen to it. I am not going to tint the back of the headstock though. It's going to remain as it is right now, just clear. I'm just going to tint the neck. Yeah, so now we're ready to tint. We want to tint the back of this a real nice special amber color that I've got mixed up. I've had it mixed up for years now, and I just keep adding to it, and it's gotten really nice dark. And I like doing Stratocaster type, Telecaster type necks with it. And the back of the headstock I'm going to leave as is. I'm not going to tint that at all, just the neck wood. And of course the top will be taped off because it's going to get a sunburst sprayed onto it, just like the body. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. But I'm glad I finally got the neck all smooth and shaped and ready to go. So you got a real nice C shape to it. It's a little thinner than a normal Stratocaster C shape, if you know what I'm talking about. But for an 1.5 inch wide neck, really nice thin. I measured exactly where I needed to go, so I wouldn't run into my truss rod channel. But I didn't want to go no thinner, since I do have a truss rod in there. But it's real nice and thin. I don't like real boxy square necks on CVGs. I like them to feel like a guitar neck, electric guitar neck, real nice and comfortable, no problem. So yeah, we're going to tint this up tomorrow, and tomorrow is Friday. So over the course of the weekend I will be spraying the sunburst also, and the sunburst on the box. Let me get this put up, and I'm just going to kind of do a little mock-up and see where we're at now with the pickup and bridge and all that. Since I am using a flat hardtail bridge, there is absolutely no need to put an angle on your neck. But however, I do have a 1 degree angle on here, on my neck brace right here, and I don't know why I'm even doing that. There's no reason to with a bridge that lays flat with a flat top body. So but I had to fill up about 1/4 inch down there, and I have a 1/4 inch piece of neck wood and my little piece of purple heart that I have a 1 degree angle on. And this is how my box tops go in. Notch right there. Find my notch. Actually, let me get here. And if you have to take my box tops off to repair something like a electronic problem, you can just pull them right out, and just like that. The only thing holds my tops on are the box corners that I put on. I don't glue the box down, the box lid. It's actually, they're very tight, but they're only held together with the corners I put on. So, and let's see, find out maybe about where our scale is. I'm going to put this right in the center of that fret, not on the side of it or in front of it, but right in the center. because that's where the string lays across the fret. The string doesn't come in contact with the very front edge of the fret like a nut would. So you want to measure a 0 fret right from the center of that fret. Close enough. I'm just doing a mock-up right now. So a 25 would be pretty much right here in this general area. And our pickup. Right in this area. I'm fixing to tint the back of the neck, and I'm going to give it a nice dark amber tint to it. And I really love amber for maple necks, light colored necks. And I'm only going to tint the back of the neck part up to the volute. I'm not going to tint the wings or the back of the headstock. That's going to remain natural. Just the neck wood is what I'm going to tint. I'm just going to explain real quick what I'm using. I really love to tint maple necks with an amber color, and I have this. I've been adding to this over the years. I've tinted, I can't even remember how many guitar bodies. And I've been using this amber on guitar necks for a long time. I just keep adding to it, and it just keeps getting darker and better. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to explain quickly what I'm using. I buy my tint from either Stuart McDonald or the Woodcraft store. It's the same identical tint, except each place sells it under a different brand name. And under Stuart McDonald, it goes under the color tone name. Under the Woodcraft store, it goes under the Transfast name. And they also have their color names are different. This is Dark Mission Brown. If you buy the brown from Stuart McDonald, it's called Tobacco Brown. It's the same stuff. And I buy it in powdered form and concentrated liquid form. And I use a lot of it. I already have a pile of it mixed up, different colors for different things. And I love to tint. So I'm just going to wipe a little bit on this. Okay, my next ambrosia maple. This is a chunk out of an ambrosia maple neck that was unused. And I'm just going to give you a little, I'm going to show you what this this amber looks like. I do like to apply my tint with this flannel material. You can go, I get it at Walmart, and I got a big piece right there. They have it on rows, so you can get as much as you want, and I get about 10 yards at a time, and I just cut it up into little pieces that I can apply the tint with. So let's see what we got here. Gotta always wear gloves or your hands will be nasty. And this little test piece here is basically what my neck's going to look like. You don't want to apply it too soggy, and always keep a torn up pieces of napkin around, so I can just kind of blot it a little bit so it's not soaking wet. You don't ever, especially like when I tint the top of my box with this really thin flame maple veneer. You don't want to soak it, whether you're mixing. These tints are mainly for water, so they're really easy to mix. You don't need nothing special. Sometimes I use denatured alcohol. And the denatured alcohol is what I'm going to use to tint the top of the box, because I don't want the water to soak into that thin veneer and mess up the glue that's under the veneer. So anyway, give you a little and of course it looks good already with just the first tint, but this is mixed really dark, so I only ever have to put 2 to 3 coats on it if you want a nice dark color. But it does look good right now, but it is going to dry and it's not going to be so nice and dark and good looking. You can kind of see it's drying up now. It'll get a lot lighter, so you always have to put a couple of coats on. You don't ever want to mix it too dark, because if it's too dark, you'll have to sand some off if it covers up what you're trying to tint. You know, just make it where you might have to put several coats on to get the darkness you want, and then you don't ever have to do a lot of sanding. By the way, this is mixed with water. The neck's a solid piece of wood, and even though I have a truss rod in here, I'm still a good half inch, almost a half inch before I get to the bottom of the truss rod. So I don't have to worry about that getting wet or anything. So I'm going to tint this with water mixed with the tint. Okay, we're dried a little bit here. The amber's got a nice lemon kind of color to it also, but the more coats you put on, the darker and deeper it gets. It never looks as good as it actually does mixed in the thing, but you know. You know, after you put several coats on, it's actually going to start staying like that nice dark color. And also, when you put the lacquer on the neck, it'll really amplify that tint also. Okay, long that's drying, I am going to go ahead and put my neck. I've already got my fretboard and everything taped off and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put that in this vise right here. Being that it is tinted mixed with water, it takes a little longer to dry. You don't ever want to get it like real soggy. That'll soak too far down in the wood. You know, just get you a nice, you know, kind of blot it out just a little bit so it's not so wet. But we're going to go ahead and put a coat on the neck. You know what? Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and tint around the headstock. And to do that, I'm going to use these little things right here. These little pointy Q-tips. And that's because I'm just going to tint up to the edge of my Purple Heart laminate right there, because I don't really get as less as I can to get onto that wing wood right there. So I'm just going to kind of brush that on with this thing right here. kind of drying up, but it's staying darker now. Alright, that first coat is pretty much almost dry. We just have a few little damp places left. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe another light coat on there. And when it dries the first coat, you can tell it's kind of light, but as we keep putting more coats on there, it's going to stay nice and dark when it dries out. And that's what I'm looking for. Not real dark, but a little more darker than what it is right now.
Alright, well, I come out this evening to check the tint that I put on last night, and I pretty much like it where it is. I'm not going to put any more on there. It's as dark as I want it to be. I don't want it any darker. And if I remember correctly, I put 3 coats on. And I don't want it any darker because I've already got a darker fretboard and binding, and I want the contrast in there. If I had like a maple fretboard, a light colored one, I might get it a lot darker. But I like it where it is, and that's about all the work I can do on the neck right now until I do some work on the body. So I'm going to set this up here and hope it doesn't fall. Alright, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and tint the bottom of the box. I'm going to go ahead and tint it before I drill the jack hoe, because that's not going to matter whether it's tinted or not. And I'm going to put a nice dark tobacco brown on there. I've already got it mixed up right here. In fact, that's been mixed up for several years, and I just keep adding to it. And I put a little bit, just swiped a little bit on yesterday evening, and I've tinted these Avo boxes like this tobacco brown before, and I really like how they turn out. So first I'm going to wipe it down so there is no dust or contaminants on it, because things like that will mess up your tint when you put it on. So, sometimes you get these Avo classic boxes, and sometimes they got some really nice figure in the wood. And when you're using a naphtha, when you wipe that on there, that's a real good indication of how it's going to look when you put lacquer on it. Naphtha is also awesome for cleaning tools. I use naphtha. I do a lot of repair work on Gibson instruments, and I use nitrocellulose as a lacquer. Naphtha is very good for wiping down a dirty nitrocellulose topped guitar. Okay, let that all dry up, and we're going to get to staining. Yeah, I had some dust on there. In fact, I'm going to wipe it down again because that was so dirty. You don't have to worry about this soaking into your wood. This evaporates very quickly. got a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm totally out of box corners. I thought I had some here. I do, but they're brass colored, so I'm going to have to use those until I can get some to replace them. And you can get them at Ace Hardware if you got one near you. And they basically look like that right there, and they're pretty awesome, except they only carry the brass colored. They do not carry any kind of chrome, and they sit on your box like that right there. It's pretty awesome. I like them, and they're nice and rounded, and they feel good. Like some box corners are really pointy and sharp right there. You have to like file them off a little bit, like digging your arm. Uncomfortable. Oh well. Got this box here, and I'm going to sit that up. I'm going to use it to sit in my box. How long I'm staying in it. I don't think it'll take too many coats at all. Probably just one, maybe. I don't even know. This is a really dark mixed up tobacco brown. I usually keep a light tint mixed up and a medium tint and a darker tint of the same color, depending on what I'm going to use it for. My thing wadded up right. Go ahead and do the sides first. Alright, the box has dried now, and it's about where I want it. Don't want to put another coat on there and make it too dark. And what I'm going to do here is tomorrow I am going to drill the input jack hole. But tonight I am actually going to wipe a coat of wipe-on poly. That is what I'm going to finish the bottom of the box with. The top of the box will be lacquered in nitrocellulose lacquer, but the back of it is going to be with poly. And I'm going to wipe that one coat on there tonight and let it dry, and then come out tomorrow and put another coat on there. And hopefully I won't have to sand too much, but who knows. Okay, I'm going to start on the edges. Alright, we're going to let that dry overnight, and we'll put another coat on there tomorrow. This one is basically just going to soak in and give it kind of a foundation. So when I put one on tomorrow, it'll be a lot more, it'll lay on a lot more thicker and more shiny. I'm just kind of wiping it down into the wood. I'm not pressing real hard, but I'm getting it down in there because I want to kind of fill some of the pores. Alright, we'll be back tomorrow. Alright, we're going to tint the top of this lid now, and hopefully it all goes well and it turns out looking pretty good. Alright, we're going to let that dry just for a moment and see how it looks. And we might put one more coat on there tonight. And I can already see where I didn't get some of my glue residue in the center. I'll have to live with that. I should have been more attentive to that, but I totally forgot. That happens. So far it looks pretty good. We'll give it a few. In fact, I'm going to prop it up right down here in front of the heater so it will evaporate that alcohol a little more quicker, and we'll see what it does. Alright, she's pretty dry. We're actually going to put one more wash, a quick wash over that in just a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and do the headstock now and get that done. And, always something not around when you need it. Oh, that'll work. Not what I was looking for, but it'll serve the purpose. All right. Right, we're going to let that dry, and we'll put another coat on that one here in a few. We're going to put another quick wash over that, just to get a little more of that color in there. I was kind of wiping it down in there, and if you rub it too hard, you can easily rub a lot of your tint back out of the wood. Alright, we're going to let that dry until tomorrow. And the same with the headstock. It should probably be about dry now. Alright, well, headstock might get one more coat here in a moment. We'll see. Alright, it's time to lacquer the lid of my box and also the neck. I have everything taped off, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to spray it with. Usually, if I'm building an electric guitar, I'm going to crank up the big air compressor, and I'm going to bring out my really sweet, awesome Devil Bliss spray gun. But for the CVGs, I don't want to waste all that time and go to all that trouble. So what I use is a pre-vol sprayer, and some of you might know about these, and for those that don't, they're awesome. This is just the replacement power unit. You can buy the whole kit. The whole kit is around $10. You get a power unit, and you get a glass container to put your liquid in. This is not plastic, it's actual thick glass, because some liquids aren't good to put in plastic. And the power unit looks like this empty one right here. And when you put your liquid down into the jar, you just put the power unit down in there, and you're ready to spray. And they actually spray pretty good. So for $10, you get this set up right here. And after you buy a few of the $10 boxes with one power unit and a glass jar, you'll have several of these glass jars. And then you can just, for about $5 or $6, just buy the replacement power unit. And you don't have to keep buying the glass jars unless you want to. I like them myself. I keep different tints and lacquers stored up in some of them, and they come with a lid too, so you can close that off and keep it. Okay, that one's empty, and I'm just going to open this one. Yeah, comes with the power unit and the stem. The stem comes with a little tip on it that will strain certain things if you don't want, like, if you got some gunk or crap in your liquid, keep that on there. But if you're spraying full strength lacquer, take that off, because full strength lacquer is really going to have a hard time getting in these little tiny strain hose right there. So I'm leaving mine on because, okay, now I'm going to show you what I'm spraying with. I've used Balin nitrocellulose lacquer for many years, and I have no problems with it. I never have. I love it, and I've used it countless times spraying guitars and things. recently Balin sold out to Mohawk. This one's just got a little bit left in it. This is one of the new quarts I bought recently. You can get them in the quart or a little bigger. So it's now made by Mohawk. There is no more Balin, which has been around for decades. But it's the very same lacquer, and I get mine at Woodcraft, at the Woodcraft store if you have one near you. I've already poured a little bit into the pre-vol container, and I'm going to add some lacquer thinner. I don't want it really thick. I'd rather put several thinned out coats on there to start getting it thick, because I'm not going to put an actual really thick finish on here. I just really want to seal the top of this flame top veneer and also get it where it's going to have a nice shine to it.
Yes, she feels for me and I feel for her.
So I'm going to get a little bit of lacquer in there, and then I'm going to take it outside and do the first couple of sprays to show you how this thing works. So oops, that one is dirty. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, this is way bigger than I want to use, but I don't know where my other ones are right now. And I'm going to get that about up to the top right there. Alright, now I'm going to put my new power unit in. Just put it in there like that and tighten it down. Don't ever like lean it to the side or turn it upside down. And now I can shake it up a little bit and get that thinner all mixed in with that lacquer. I would put a lid on there, but I don't know where one of the lids are. I'll take the top off. These are really awesome if you don't have a air compressor or a regular conventional spray gun. These are plenty big enough to, you can probably do a good lacquer job on the neck and get a lot on the body too with one of these. They don't last forever. You know, it's just basically compressed air to draw, and it draws the liquid up and sprays it out. So these will run out pretty quick. And these were originally made, the pre-vols were made for touch-ups for car painting. People paint cars. If you got a scratch, these were made to do a quick touch-up. That's why there's, you know, it's not that much air in there. We're gonna let that sit just a little more, and I'll be right back, and we're gonna take it outside and put the first coat of spray on there. Alright, we're outside now. It's about to get dark. You see the moon up there, maybe. So yeah, the first coat that I'm putting on is not going to be nothing but a thin tack coat. You don't ever want to put something on, lacquer on too thick. Just give it a couple of thinned out coats, and then I can start putting a thicker coat on. But I want a thinned out lacquer base for that thicker coat to stick to. If you just start laying it on real thick on the plain wood, you're going to be more prone to runs, and they're not going to be easy to get out. When you use nitrocellulose lacquer, put you a couple of thin coats on, and if you put a thicker coat on and you get a little run, you don't have to worry because you already have a lacquer coat below it. And nitrocellulose will kind of melt into the previous coat. So it's not that bad. Okay, first we want to get it spraying. See which way the wind's blowing. Okay, we should be good. I'm actually going to hold that when I do this, but you always want to start spraying off to the side like this and then bring it over. Don't ever start spraying right on the box. You're going to get a bad run. Alright, I'm going to try to get it on the sides. Alright, we'll get one on the back of the neck. And I mentioned somewhere earlier in the video, when I put the tint on, it's going to look a little brighter as it's on the wood. And I mentioned that when you put the lacquer on, it's going to darken it up a little bit. It's going to make it even more of an amber color. So right, make sure I get a streak down the sides. And now get some on the headstock. Alright, now we're going to let all this dry for about 30 minutes because it's such a light, thin coat. It's not going to take that long to dry. So okay. And that's how I spray little quick things, like just a small piece like the lid of this box. I'm actually going to put another coat on the lid, and I'll probably put a couple of more coats throughout the evening on these. I'm not going to film those. I'm just going to film this one here, just a show you what I'm using, and that you can get it. You can get these at Lowe's or Home Depot. Actually, the Lowe's here in my area, you don't carry them, but the Home Depot does. But fortunately, I have an O'Reilly's auto parts store just down the street from my house, and they sell these in store. Places like Advance Auto, you know, places like that, they don't carry them in the store. You have to order them from their website. But you can get these locally, and they're awesome. So alright, now we're going to let that sit for a while. Actually have that lid taped to that chair out there so it doesn't fall off. Okay, well, I hope this is something else that helps people out finding out about these. Alright, just let the first coat of lacquer I put on dry a little bit. And what did I do with it? And I took a piece of 800 grit sandpaper and just kind of got the little hairs off of it from the lacquer. And what's really important is between each coat of lacquer that I put on, I'm going to wipe it down with some naphtha to get all the dust and stuff from the sandpaper and anything else that would have gotten on it. You don't want like stuff to land on it, you know, specks of dust, lint, just whatever. You know, it just saves you from having to repair that spot. So just give it a good wipe down before I spray it again.
Send in the challengers.
But first, my queen, we must appease fear's thought. We must drink a toast to the gods of carnage. We shall drink to the death of tall Captain.
I shall join you in your prayer.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing with the lid. I got to go out and get that. But it's always a good idea to wipe it down and get all the stuff off of it before you put your next coat of lacquer or paint or whatever it is you're doing. Alright. Come out a little earlier to check the lacquer drying from last night, and I didn't put a real thick coat on, just enough to give it a nice shine and nice slick feel to it. I get the rest of this tape off. I'm going to glue the neck into the box here in a few, and then let that sit overnight, and hopefully tomorrow I will get everything finished and get strings on it. But long as the neck is glued into the box this evening, I'm going to go ahead and make me a truss rod cover for the hole right here. And I guess I'm going to do that out of Purple Heart if I have a piece big enough left. But I'll have to see. Flame maple looks really nice with the lacquer on it. And this is the box that we lacquered last night. After I get the lacquer on there, it very visibly shows up my my seam job, which actually when I put it in there, and this is the reason I don't like using veneer, when I put it together I couldn't see the seam. You know, I looked and looked and looked, but it could shrink back or anything, but have to it's fine. I don't mind at all. Gives it a more kind of rustic kind of look maybe. But it's a real nice shine to it, and you see the flame really nice. And we'll have to wait probably till tomorrow to work on that anymore. I need to get the neck in the actual box and let that sit overnight, and then tomorrow we can put all of that together. Okay, I've got some bracing right here for my bridge. It's should be dry by now. It's been drying for several hours. In the meantime, I've taken this razor blade and just gently scraped and cleaned all the gunk and residue, tape residue that's gotten on my fretboard. I've had to tape it up several different times, and I'm just cleaning all this off. And then I'm going to do all the touch-ups on my frets I need to do. I've already smoothed the fret ends off once before, but I didn't do a great job because I knew I would have to do it again before I start stringing it up tomorrow. So I'm going to do that, and in fact they're pretty smooth now. I don't know if I have to smooth anything up, but I'm going to clean it up real good. I'm going to put some lubrication on the fretboard and let that dry overnight, and then tomorrow it's not going to take me long at all to install the wiring. I've already soldered most of that together. So yeah, I'm going to have all this done tomorrow, and I'm going to have it tuned up, and then I'm going to actually let it sit for about 3 days until the neck adjusts to the string tension, and I'll check it a little bit every day. And since I do have a truss rod in this one, I'm not going to adjust the truss rod at all when I first put the strings on. I'll do that the next day when I see how the neck is adjusting to the string tension, and I'll adjust the truss rod a little bit each day for a couple of days until that neck gets good and set in. So yeah, not much more. Alright, well, I've cleaned the neck up, and I went back over the fret ends and made sure they were nice and perfectly smooth. And these are stainless steel frets, so they're not going to be needing the ends filed anytime soon. What I'm going to do now before I go any farther is I'm going to go ahead and put some lubrication on this very dry fretboard. It's been here in the shop for 2 or 3 years now at least, and it's dried out pretty good. And then all the work I've done on it and all the sanding and stuff, I'm going to put some of this Guitar Honey on it. I'm not particularly fond of any one brand. This is just one I bought at, I think, Guitar Center about a year ago, and I've done quite a few necks with it. Fretboards, not necks. But it's no better or no worse than any other brand of fretboard lubrication I've used. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to put some more bracing in the box. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do this now is because so it will go ahead and soak in and get nice and dry before I put strings on it. I don't like putting this stuff on a fretboard right before I'm about to put strings on it. I like it to soak in and get as dry as it's going to get. It's really going to make this Purple Heart fretboard really stand out when it gets some of this oil in there. I'm also going to wipe it down the sides on the walnut binding. Whoops. I'm going to run just a little bit up this really dry walnut binding. Well, I'm going to let that soak in and dry. Might have to put another coat on there depending how that soaks in the binding. But I only put lacquer on the back of the neck. I had the binding and fretboard taped off, so there's no lacquer on that binding. Alright, now, long that is drying, I'm going to decide where I'm going to put some bracing at. I've got these two pieces of ambrosia maple. They're rather heavy, and I want to weight out the box really good. So I'm going to put the cover on in a moment. I'm going to just double tape these in here and I'll just hold it and kind of figure out where to put them for the best balance of the between the neck and the body, so it just lays perfectly level. And I'm going to do that in a moment. You know, the neck having a truss rod in it's not really that much heavier. The truss rod doesn't really add much more weight to the neck than the wood that I routed out of it for the truss rod actually took up. So I'm not going to have to put that much weight in the box, just a little bit. Well, I'm going to have to cut a couple of this piece up because I can't put it too far this way or too far this way. can't put it too far this way because I have a jack right here, and I'm going to have my knobs right here in this area. So alright, well, I've got a lot done in the past 3 or 4 hours, and I totally thought I was recording all this. I guess I wasn't. So I didn't get to video a few things, which was basically nothing but me putting the wiring in, and that's it. Unfortunately, the goat foil I was going to use, I'm not going to be able to use it because for some reason I thought it was a little thinner than it is. And the way I built this CVG is I set the neck lower for a reason, but I thought that was a little lower. It's going to sit up a little higher than I can use, so I will save that for another build. Fortunately, I've got a lot more pickups here in the shop, but I just don't have no real small size ones. Fortunately, about a month ago, I ordered from CV Giddy 2 of these new Giddy buckers, and so I've already wired one of those up, and I'm going to try one. And fortunately, if I don't like it, I can simply and easily remove the lid off the box and put another pickup in there. Right, well, I'm going to wipe this down and clean it up, and then we're going to string it up. I'm just going to, I'm fixing to wipe it down with some naphtha, and then I'm going to install the strings. I've been working on this thing for almost 2 months now. I recorded I don't know how many hours and hours and hours of me working on this. I'm going to put all this out in several different videos. There's a lot of stuff I should have shown that I forgot. There's a lot of stuff I should have done that I didn't. If you got any questions about anything I did that you're interested in, just ask and I will explain. I have no problem helping out. So I tried to show a lot of jigs that you can make in your little home shop or wherever you do this at. I don't actually I rarely ever use those jigs anymore. I just built this with them so you could you can see how you can do it at home yourself with tools that you can pretty cheaply buy locally. Usually I showed a fretting jig that I used to use a lot to fret this fretboard. I don't use that thing hardly. I use a Stuart McDonald fretting miter jig. I'm really weird about my fret slots. They have to be perfect because I build and sell fretboards, and they have to be perfectly slotted straight. If you get, if your fret slots get off even just a little bit, your chords aren't going to sound properly. You're not going to be able to intonate the strings properly, and it, you know, I'm just weird about that. But I showed a jig you can make at home, and it cuts perfect, as long as you build it properly, and other things like that. You know, just I tried to show ways you can do it at home without spending a whole lot of money on expensive tools. A few things I used, there's a few things, you know, you really need. If you see anything I use you're interested in, just ask me and I will explain where you can get it, how to use it, or whatever. So yeah, I'm going to wipe this down and install some strings. Also got my I lacquered this little makeshift truss rod cover last night too. I do not know where my third screw went. This is embarrassing here. I usually keep my shop really clean, but right when I'm about to get through with one, it just gets piled up. Yeah, so I'm going to get some more Purple Heart here very soon and make me a little custom truss cover, and I will inlay some, I don't know, I might even inlay a little mother of pearl design or some initials or something in it. But this will work fine until then, and probably won't even get put on there much because I'll be tweaking that truss rod for the next couple of days along this neck adjusts to the tension of the strings. So I'm going to wipe it down, clean it. I'm going to put strings on it, and since it's springtime here, I got some yard work to do. So in a few hours I will come back and check the how the neck's adjusting to the tension of the strings and tweak the truss rod a little bit more. And I'm definitely going to be plugging it up and just checking the pickup and the sound and all that. And then tomorrow, after it sits overnight tuned to an open G, it will adjust the neck a little more, and I can come out tomorrow and put some final tweaks on the truss rod, and it should be playable. The only thing is, you know, I've spent maybe 2 months building this thing, and I've recorded almost every second of that to make a build video. I'm actually haven't even put the first one part of it out yet because I'm not going to until I get this thing put together, because I've spent a lot of time building custom CBGs before, and they turn out to play like crap, no matter how much time and just careful I was about everything, measurements, things like that. Sometimes they just don't turn out like they should. So hopefully it does, and yeah, well, we'll see. So let's get to doing this, and yeah.
Budget straightens your teeth 3 times sooner than braces. How's it going? Simply. Once your plans appear to be moved and put over again with dentists, please stop estimating items directly to your home. And you'll be smiling and welcome 3 times sooner than braces. Start thinking for free. Visit smilesredclub.com. Nearly 4,000 of Coursera's online classes are being offered at no cost for unemployed workers. Normal costs almost $400 a year. Access the library of classes and specialization.
Like all too little truck. They feel like Joe's on the business without the consumer. Everyone's stuck isn't in the heads. You want to hear no hitches, no glitches, and no sweat. That's why we're all too little truck.
We're at the location we need to stop for a moment. They know we have to stay with everyone. Whenever it happens to all of us, we buy a home and we turn into our parents. What I do is help new homes.
Was that adjustable spanner? Good choice.
Don't forget you're not just a kid. You know what it said. The world's treats most expensive ingredients. My dad. Yeah.
Is that the fucking right?
Yeah, I get it. It was a great plan. Get to the explain why you made it your mission to restore the public. Still hungry with God, preparing to destroy what's left of civilization. Think that about it. That's a lovely excuse, sir. I used it myself. But you asked for the truth, and it is this. You emerged from 300 years in the void to discover paradise in ashes. Your home is gone.
Okay, time to glue this nut in. I'm just going to put a little dab of super glue. This is it's regular super glue. It's not the thin stuff. I use different types of super glue for different things. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for just a few minutes for that glue to dry. Put the string back in the slots, but I'm not going to tighten them up just yet. Alright, y'all. It's been about a week since I got strings on this thing. The neck has had time to adjust, and I've also done a lot of tweaking on the truss rod. Now I have the neck perfectly flat, and I have the action so low. It's really low. As low as you'd find on a really high-end electric guitar. It's real easy to play. Got no fret outs nowhere. No bend outs, and I literally cannot stop playing this thing. Last week after I put strings on it, you know, I had this CB Giddy little flat bucker in there, wicked bucker I think they called them. Yeah, after I got strings on it, I plugged it up. I played for about 10 minutes. I brought it back out here. I took that pickup out, and I put in this old Gibson humbucker I've had for about 25 years. And I was lucky enough to have this little flat pickup plate to go around it. And the wicked bucker, it just, the output on it was, I mean, it was not going to be adequate for what I need. I'm going to use that in another build though, and maybe put it up here in the neck position where it would pick up the output a little more. But this thing sounds really good. It's nice and chunky. I'm fixing to do a couple of new CBG lessons with it, and you will be able to hear how it sounds. Hope y'all enjoyed this build, and hope I gave you a few tips to help your building out. I also, when I come back out, I think back in the late 80s I had this Kramer Pacer. It had a slanted pickup in it. So when I come back out and put this one in, I had to cut a hole for this humbucker, and so I made it slanted. I like slanted pickups more than, you know, just vertical. But you know, it's just a personal thing. Other than that, it actually weighed it. It tops out at like 7.3 pounds. It's a pretty dense guitar. So, you know, I added some weight in here because I want it to sound dense with a more higher output pickup. But just plays wonderful, and not just saying that because I built it, but it does. Well, check it out on some of my newer lessons, and leave some comments. Tell me what you think about it, and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Later, guys.